The rescue John was walking home late at night. The streets of the city were quiet, but broken. Buildings looked old, walls were cracked, and some windows were missing. The world had changed. After the Great War between humans and machines, peace had returned, but fear still lived everywhere. As John turned a dark corner, he heard a sound, a small cry. He stopped. It sounded like a child. He looked around and saw a little girl sitting near a wall. Her clothes were dirty and torn. Her hair was messy and her face had dust. But the strangest thing, her skin had glowing blue lines on it. They were soft and moving slowly, like lights. John's heart beat fast. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. The little girl looked at him with big eyes. She didn't speak. She just shook her head and looked behind her. When John followed her gaze, he saw two men wearing black suits. They were looking for someone. They had strange guns, small but shining red. The girl got up fast and ran toward John. Without thinking, he picked her up. "Don't worry, I got you," he whispered. The men in black saw them and shouted, "Stop! Hand over the child." John ran. His legs moved fast, even faster than he thought possible. The little girl held him tightly, her small arms around his neck. She was scared and shaking. He ran through narrow streets, jumping over trash and broken glass. The men chased him. They fired their strange guns, but missed. Blue lights flew past John's head. John knew he couldn't run forever. He turned into another street and ran into an old building. The door was half open. He pushed it and entered quickly, closing it behind him. He climbed the stairs to the second floor and found an old apartment. The windows were broken, but the door still worked. He entered and locked it. John put the girl down. She was breathing fast, her eyes still wide. "You're safe now," he said, but even he wasn't sure. "Who are they? Why are they chasing you?" The girl finally spoke. Her voice was soft and strange, but she spoke perfect English. "Bad men. They want to take me." Her skin was glowing brighter now. The lines on her arms and face moved slowly, shining in the dark room. John stared at her, confused and curious. "You're not normal," he whispered. "What are you?" The girl didn't answer. She sat on the floor and hugged her knees. "My mother will come for me," she said. Soon, John felt something strange in his heart. He didn't understand what was happening, but he knew one thing: he had to protect her. Even if it meant danger, even if it meant dying. Outside, he heard the sound of footsteps. The men in black were near. They were searching floor by floor. John quickly moved a table and placed it against the door. Then he turned to the girl. "We have to be quiet," he said. She nodded, but before she closed her eyes, she looked at John and said something he didn't expect. "Thank you, human." Then she closed her eyes. A soft light spread around her body as she fell asleep. The glowing lines on her skin moved gently. John couldn't take his eyes off her. Who was this child? Why did she call him human like she wasn't one? Suddenly, something fell out of her small pocket. John picked it up. It was a small round device, smooth and shining. It looked like nothing he had seen before, not human technology. His mind was full of questions, but there was no time. The footsteps outside stopped right in front of the door. The men whispered to each other. One of them said, "She is inside. Prepare the scanner." John's heart raced. He looked at the girl, still sleeping. He felt responsible for her now. He couldn't give her up. He stood in front of the door, ready to fight. But then, the device in his hand made a small sound beep. A soft voice came from it. It was a woman's voice. "Thank you for protecting my daughter," the voice said. "I will come soon." John froze. Whose voice was this? The girl's mother. How did she know he was protecting her? Was she watching? Was she near? Before he could think more, the device glowed and showed a small picture of a woman's face. She was beautiful but not human. Her eyes glowed like stars, and her skin had the same blue lights as the little girl. John felt a strange feeling inside. This was just the beginning of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. Secrets in the shadows. John sat on the floor of the small dark room. The little girl was asleep, her skin glowing softly in the shadows. The strange round device was still in his hand. The woman's face had disappeared, but her voice echoed in his mind. "I will come soon." Outside, the men in black were still searching. He could hear their heavy boots on the stairs. Every noise made his heart beat faster. He looked at the door. The table he placed there didn't feel strong enough to stop them. John turned back to the girl. He couldn't believe what was happening. She was not human. Those glowing blue lines on her skin, the strange device, the way she had spoken. Everything felt like a dream, but this was real. He noticed her face now, peaceful but different. Her ears were small and pointed. Her fingers were longer than a normal child's fingers. Her skin, though glowing, looked smooth like polished stone. She wasn't sick or hurt. She was something else. Suddenly, the device in his hand glowed again. It showed a small map. A red dot was blinking on it, his location. Then a blue dot appeared on the screen. The blue dot was moving fast toward them. John whispered, "Is this your mother?" The girl didn't answer. She was still asleep, but a soft smile appeared on her lips. John's curiosity grew stronger. He checked the window carefully. Outside, the streets were quiet, but he saw something strange, a shadow moving quickly across rooftops. The shape was slim and fast, not human. At the same time, he heard a voice from outside the door. One of the men spoke. "We know you're inside. You can't hide. Open the door and give us the girl." John stayed silent. He held the device tightly. Then something very strange happened. The girl's glow became brighter. The lines on her skin moved faster, as if they were alive. Her body lifted a little off the ground, floating just above the floor. John stepped back in shock. The girl opened her eyes slowly, but they were shining. White, almost like a light bulb. She spoke, but this time in a different language, something John didn't understand. Her voice was soft but powerful. The device beeped loudly, as if answering her words. It glowed blue and projected something into the air, a 3D hologram. The image showed a woman in armor, the same woman who spoke earlier. She looked straight at John, as if she could see him through the device. Her voice was clear now. "You have protected my daughter, human. You have my gratitude. I am coming to you. Hold them off until I arrive." John felt chills. Who was this woman? How did she know what was happening inside this old apartment? Suddenly, loud banging on the door broke his thoughts. The men were trying to break in. John moved fast. He picked up a broken chair and held it like a weapon. His mind was full of questions, but right now, only one thing mattered: keep the girl safe. Before the men could break down the door, John noticed something else, a second door at the back of the apartment. It was half hidden behind an old curtain. He hadn't seen it before. Was this a way out? Without wasting time, he picked up the girl gently. She was awake now but silent. She held the strange device tightly in her hands. John ran to the back door and opened it. It led to a dark staircase going down into a basement. The air was cold and smelled like dust and metal. He heard the front door break open. The men rushed inside. John didn't wait. He carried the girl down the stairs quickly. At the bottom, he found a tunnel, a secret tunnel going deep underground. Strange symbols were on the walls. They glowed softly, like the lines on the girl's skin. John whispered, "Did you show me this way?" The girl finally spoke again. "Yes, I led you here. Mother is near." As John walked deeper into the tunnel, he couldn't help but think, what have I gotten myself into? Who is this child? Who is her mother? And why do they need me? Behind them, the footsteps of the men in black echoed loudly. The chase wasn't over, but for the first time, John felt like he was not just saving this girl, he was stepping into a much bigger mystery, a secret hidden under his city, under his world. The return. John moved quickly through the dark tunnel. The walls glowed with blue symbols that felt alive. The little girl was quiet in his arms. Her skin still glowed gently, and her eyes looked calm, but there was something strange about her. Silence, as if she was waiting for something. Above them, John could hear distant noises. The men in black were searching. Their voices echoed through the broken building. But they didn't know about this secret path. "Where does this tunnel go?" John whispered. The girl finally spoke, her voice soft and strange. "It leads to safety. Mother will come." John shivered. The way she said mother made it sound important and mysterious. The tunnel was long and cold. The air felt heavy, and the lights from the symbols lit their path like stars in a night sky. After what felt like a long walk, they reached an old metal door at the end. John stopped and looked at the girl. Before he could ask anything, the door slowly opened on its own, with no one touching it. Standing there was a tall woman. John froze. It was her, the woman from the hologram, the one whose voice he had heard through the device. But now she was real right in front of him. She was beautiful in a strange way. Her hair was long and silver, her skin smooth and pale but marked with glowing blue lines. Just like the little girl, her eyes, they shone like stars. She didn't look angry or afraid, she looked graceful. The little girl jumped out of John's arms and ran to her mother. She cried, hugging her tightly. The woman bent down and kissed her daughter's head. Then she looked up at John. "You have done more than you know, human," she said, her voice smooth but powerful. "You did not only save my child, you saved me." John didn't understand. He felt nervous but couldn't look away from her. "Who are you? Why were those men chasing her? What do they want?" The woman stepped forward slowly. "My name is Alara," she said. "I am not from your world. My daughter and I have lived among your people in secret. We are the last of our kind." Her words were soft but filled with sadness. "The men chasing us, they are not men. They are hunters, sent by those who destroyed my planet. They want my daughter because she carries something rare, hope for a future." John was speechless. He looked at the little girl who now stood quietly next to her mother, holding her hand. "But why come to me? Why did you leave your daughter where I could find her?" he asked. Alara gave him a gentle smile, but it was also a sad one. "I did not plan this when the hunters came. We had no choice. I told my daughter to run, and she ran straight to you. She chose you, John." John felt a chill. "Chose me for what?" Alara looked deep into his eyes. "For protection, for trust. And now, I must ask you something you are not prepared for." Before John could answer, loud sounds came. From the tunnel behind them, the hunters were getting close. Alara turned quickly. She reached out her hand and touched the wall beside the door. The blue symbols glowed brighter. The wall moved and sealed the door completely, like it had never been there. The hunters would not follow now. She turned back to John and stepped closer. Her next words shocked him more than anything before. "John, you saved my child. Among my people. That means you are now part of my family." John's heart skipped a beat. She spoke slowly and clearly. "Our law says, the one who saves a royal child must marry her mother and protect them both." He felt dizzy. "Marry you?" Alara nodded. "I know this is sudden. I know this is not your way, but it is our tradition." John didn't know what to say. He looked at the little girl. She smiled at him, innocent, happy. Her glowing blue eyes seemed to say she trusted him completely. Alara added softly, "We have nowhere else to go, John. We cannot survive here without you. Will you help us? Will you join us?" The moment was heavy, emotional, and strange. John felt like he was falling into a dream, but it was all real. Before he could answer, Alara touched the device in her daughter's hand. A hidden door opened behind her, showing a safe room full of strange glowing objects and weapons. She said, "This is where we will stay tonight. Decide tomorrow. But know this, we have very little time." John stood frozen as Alara and her daughter stepped into the safe room. The door closed gently but not completely. She left it open, waiting for him. John stood alone in the glowing tunnel, feeling the weight of the impossible decision before him. The truth reveal legend sat on a cold metal bench inside the hidden room. The soft blue lights from the strange symbols on the walls gave the place an alien glow. His mind was full of questions. His heart felt heavy. Across from him, Alara sat quietly, holding her daughter close. She looked peaceful, but John could feel that she was hiding a deep sadness, a pain that even her beautiful face could not cover. The little girl played softly with the strange round device, spinning it in her hands like a toy. But every now and then, she looked at John and smiled a trusting, innocent smile. Finally, John broke the silence. "I need answers. I deserve to know the truth. Who are you really? And why? Why me?" Alara nodded slowly. "You're right. John, it's time to tell you everything. She stood up and walked to the center of the room. The device in her daughter's hand glowed brightly and projected a new image in the air. A hologram of a beautiful planet with 2 suns shining in the sky. That was my world. Alara said softly, a world far from Earth. We called it Saradia, a place of peace, learning, and beauty. John watched the hologram show green forests, shining oceans, tall towers, and strange animals flying in the sky. But then they came. Alara continued, her voice trembling slightly. The hologram changed. Now it showed war explosions, fire, ships attacking the planet from space. The same hunters you saw today, she whispered. They destroyed everything. They hunted my people until very few of us were left, my daughter. And I escaped. We hid on Earth, because this was the only place we could go. John felt chills as he watched her world being destroyed right before his eyes in the hologram. Alara looked directly at him, her glowing eyes filled with pain. We lived quietly, hiding among your people, pretending to be human, but they found us again, and this time, they wanted my daughter. John leaned forward. Why her? What is so special about her? Alara took a deep breath. Because she is not just my daughter. She is the last royal child of Saradia. Her blood carries the power to rebuild our people, to bring hope back to a dying race. John's eyes widened in shock. Alara added, that's why they are hunting her. If they kill her, Saradia is gone forever. But if she lives, our people can rise again. John felt the weight of her words. Suddenly, he understood why everything had happened so fast. Why she had asked him to protect them. Why she spoke about laws and marriage. Alara walked closer and knelt in front of him. John, when you saved her, you didn't just save a child, you saved a future. According to our law, that act makes you part of our royal family. Whether you choose it or not, our fate is tied to yours now, John whispered. But I'm just an ordinary man. Alara smiled gently, her fingers brushing his hand. You have shown more courage and kindness than many kings. That's why she chose you. Why I trust you. John felt overwhelmed. What does marrying you mean? I don't understand your customs. Alara explained slowly. It means protection, unity, and trust. It means you will stand beside me as we rebuild. It means my enemies will fear you, because you will become part of our royal bloodline. Before he could speak again, the little girl climbed onto his lap and hugged him tightly. In her small voice she said, I want you to stay, please. John looked at her, feeling warmth in his heart. She didn't look alien to him anymore. She looked like a child who had lost her home, her people, and had found him instead. But the moment was interrupted by a sharp noise. The device beeped loudly again. Alara picked it up and frowned. They're here. The hunters found this place too. John stood up quickly. How? You sealed the door. Alara nodded. Yes, but they are not only hunters, they have spies. On Earth, and they are coming fast. She grabbed his arm gently but firmly. John, I need your answer now. John's mind raced. There was no more time for thinking, no more time for doubt. If he said yes, he would leave his old life forever. If he said no, Alara and her daughter might die tonight. Alara looked at him with her glowing, beautiful eyes, hopeful, but ready for whatever answer he gave. John finally spoke, his voice steady. I'm with you. Alara's eyes softened. She smiled a real, honest smile and said, Then we fight together now, husband. The hidden door opened, revealing a small corridor leading to an underground vehicle, sleek, silver, and clearly alien. The little girl held John's hand tightly. As they stepped into the vehicle, alarms began to sound in the tunnels behind them, but John didn't look back. For the first time in his life, he wasn't running anymore. He was ready to protect this child, this woman, and maybe an entire race. The Propazalfi alien vehicle moved fast through the underground tunnels. The walls outside flashed by like shadows. Inside, John sat next to Alara and her daughter. The small girl sat between them, holding both their hands tightly. John's mind was racing. Just an hour ago, he was an ordinary man walking home after work. Now he was sitting inside a strange vehicle, next to an alien queen and her daughter, and he had agreed to become part of their family. The vehicle's walls glowed softly with strange lights. Symbols appeared on a small screen in front of them, showing maps of the tunnels. Alara touched one of the symbols, and the vehicle took a sharp turn. "We're going to a safer place," she said. "But soon, we must leave Earth." John asked, "Leave Earth? Where will we go?" Alara's glowing blue eyes looked deep into his. "Home," she said softly, "or what is left of it." Before he could ask more, the vehicle stopped suddenly. The lights inside flickered for a moment. A voice spoke in a language John didn't understand, but Alara seemed worried. "They're blocking our path," she whispered. Suddenly, part of the wall slid open, and outside stood several hunters. Their faces were cold, pale, and inhuman. Their eyes were dark, and they wore black armor. Strange weapons glowed in their hands. John felt fear rising inside him. Alara stayed calm. She stood and stepped out first, holding her hands up. The hunters spoke in their alien language. Then one of them switched to English. "Queen Alara," he said coldly, "you must surrender. The child belongs to us." Alara raised her chin proudly. "My daughter belongs to no one, and neither do I." The leader of the hunters turned his gaze to John. "Human," he said, "you don't belong here. Walk away now, and we will let you live." John looked at Alara and her daughter. He saw fear in the girl's eyes, but also trust. She believed in him. John stepped out of the vehicle slowly. His voice was clear. "I stay with them." The hunters looked at each other, confused. Then Alara surprised everyone. She reached out and took John's hand in hers. She spoke loudly, so all could hear. "This human saved my child," she declared. "And now, by our law, I claim him as my consort. Before all witnesses here, I propose to him as Queen of Saradia." The hunters froze. Even John was shocked. "Propose?" He whispered. Lara smiled gently. "Our law says if I claim you and you accept, you become part of the royal family. Once that happens, by our ancient treaties, they cannot harm you or us without breaking their own rules." John looked into her glowing blue eyes. He didn't understand all their laws or customs, but he understood this much. If he said yes, it would protect Alara and her daughter. It would give them a chance. The hunter leader growled, "Choose, human. Walk away now, or suffer the same fate as them." John took a deep breath. He turned to Alara. "You really want this?" Alara nodded. "Yes, not just for protection. I have seen your courage, your kindness. I trust you, John." The little girl stepped forward, holding John's hand again. She whispered, "Say yes, please." John felt warmth in his chest. Everything inside him told him this was the right thing to do, even though it felt like a dream. He spoke firmly, "I accept." At that moment, Alara stepped forward and pressed her forehead gently against his. Their tradition. For a proposal accepted. The blue lines on her skin glowed brighter. The hunter's leader hissed in anger, but he didn't attack. "By your own treaty," Alara said proudly. "You cannot harm us now." The hunters glared at them, their dark eyes cold, but they did not move. Alara turned to John and smiled. "You are my consort now," she whispered, "and we must go. Quickly." She raised her hand. The vehicle's doors closed, and the vehicle sped away again, leaving the hunters behind. John sat down, still holding Alara's hand. The little girl climbed into his lap, resting her head against his chest. Everything had changed, forever. But for the first time, John felt peace. He was no longer an ordinary man. He was now consort to an alien queen, protector of her child, and part of something far bigger than himself. Their journey was just beginning. The escape vehicle sped through the tunnels, faster than any car John had ever seen. The walls around them blurred as glowing symbols guided their path. John sat close to Alara and her daughter. The small girl held his hand tightly. John's heart was racing. Only moments ago, he had accepted Alara's proposal, becoming her consort, and now they were running again. Alara tapped a glowing panel on the vehicle's wall. "The hunters won't give up," she said. "Even with our law protecting us, they will find other ways. We must leave Earth tonight." John frowned. "How? Where will we go?" "I can't leave Earth. This is my home." Alara looked at him calmly. "My people once built a secret ship beneath this city. It was our last hope, a way to escape if we were ever found. Now it's time to use it." Before John could speak, the vehicle slowed down and stopped. The door slid open. John stepped out first and looked around. They were in a massive underground chamber. The ceiling was high and covered in blue glowing symbols. In the center of the chamber was a ship, sleek, silver, and beautiful. It looked like nothing human made. Smooth curves, no sharp edges, and small blue lights glowing softly across its surface. Alara walked beside him. "This ship is alive," she said. "It was built from the last pieces of our world. It knows me, and it will recognize you now." John's mind was full of questions, but he stayed quiet. He could feel how important this moment was. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the chamber. A soft female voice spoke from the walls. It was the ship itself. "Warning, intruders detected." Alara's face grew tense. She turned to John. "They've found us again. The hunters are coming." John felt adrenaline rush through his body. "How do we stop them?" Alara gave him a small, sad smile. "We can't stop them, but we can escape them." The little girl ran ahead and placed her small hand on the side of the ship. The blue lights brightened instantly. The ship responded to her touch. Alara nodded at John. "Come. The ship must accept you now." John hesitated for only a second, then walked forward. He placed his hand next to the girl's. The ship glowed even brighter. A soft humming sound filled the air, as if it had awakened fully. The door of the ship slid open. But just as they prepared to enter, they heard a voice. Behind them, cold and sharper, "Stop." John turned quickly. The leader of the hunters stood at the entrance to the chamber, weapon raised. Behind him were several more hunters, their guns glowing red. The hunter leader's voice was filled with anger. "You think a simple human can protect you? You think a ship will save you? You cannot run forever." Alara stepped in front of John and spoke calmly. "The human is no longer simple. He is my consort now, and the protector of my daughter. By your own laws, you cannot harm us." The hunter smiled cruelly. "I know the laws, but laws mean nothing now. Your world is dead. Your people are gone. And soon, you will be gone too." He raised his weapon. John didn't think. He acted. He pushed Alara and the girl gently into the ship and turned to face the hunters alone. But before the hunter could fire, the ship itself reacted. Blue light burst from its surface. A shield, round and glowing. It covered the entire ship, including John. The hunters fired their weapons, but the shots bounced off the shield harmlessly. Inside the ship, Alara's voice spoke calmly through a speaker. "John, come inside. The ship is protecting you now. You are part of it." John stepped backward carefully and crossed the doorway. The ship's door slid shut. Inside, the humming sound grew louder. Alara sat at a glowing control panel. She smiled at John. "You did well, husband." John sat beside her, still breathing hard. The ship began to rise slowly, the walls of the chamber opening above them. Outside, the hunters screamed in frustration, but it was too late. The ship rose higher, moving through tunnels that curved upward. And then, suddenly, they broke through to the surface, into the night sky above the ruined city. Stars filled the sky. John looked out of a round window. For the first time, he truly realized this was real. He was leaving Earth. Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "We are free," she whispered. "But our journey is just beginning." The ship's engines roared softly, and they shot upward. Climbing fast into the sky, the city became small beneath them. John held Alara's hand tightly. He didn't know what future waited for him among the stars, but he knew one thing. He would face it together with them, his new family. A new beginning. Stars outside the ship's window shone brighter than anything John had ever seen. Earth was now far behind them, just a small blue ball in the darkness of space. John sat quietly in the ship's command room. Alara was beside him, her hand gently resting on his. Her daughter sat nearby, looking happy and safe for the first time since they met. John couldn't believe how far his life had changed in just a few days. The ship moved smoothly through space, almost like it was alive. Strange symbols appeared on the control panel, glowing softly. John didn't understand them, but Alara did. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls, guiding the ship carefully. "Where are we going now?" John finally asked. Alara turned to him, her glowing blue eyes calm but filled with something new. Hope. We are going home, she said softly. John frowned. But you said your world was destroyed. Alara nodded. Yes, Saradia is gone. But I am not talking about the past. I mean a new home, a place where we can start again. She touched a button on the panel. A map appeared in the air, a map of stars and planets. She pointed at one. This planet, untouched, beautiful, safe. I discovered it before we met. It is perfect for us. And now, it will be our new home, a place where my daughter can grow, a place where you and I can build something together. John felt both fear and excitement. A new home, a new world, a fresh start. Suddenly, the little girl climbed into his lap and smiled up at him. Will you stay with us forever? She asked, her voice full of hope. John smiled back. He brushed a lock of hair from her face and said, Yes, forever. Alara watched them quietly. Her face softened, and for the first time, she looked truly peaceful. But just as things felt calm, the ship gave a soft alarm sound. Alara touched the control panel quickly. We have a message, she said. A message? From who? John asked. Alara's face grew serious. From another ship. Someone is following us. John's heart jumped. The hunters? Alara shook her head slowly. No, this signal. It is from another survivor. Another of my people. John leaned forward, curiosity and wonder filling his mind. There are more of you. Alara smiled gently. It seems we are not alone after all. The little girl clapped her hands in happiness. We will have a new family too. The message played. It was in Alara's language, but John could feel the meaning in her expression. Hope had returned, not just for them, but for the future of an entire people. Alara looked at John again. This is the beginning, husband, not just for me and my daughter, but for all of us. John nodded slowly. A new beginning for all. The ship moved smoothly toward the planet in the star map. Its blue lights glowed brighter, as if it too understood that this was no longer a story of running or hiding. This was a story of rebuilding. As they approached the new world, John looked down at the little girl, sleeping peacefully in his arms. Then he looked at Alara, strong, beautiful, and full of hope. He didn't know what challenges would come next, but one thing was clear. He was no longer alone, and neither were they. Together, they would build a home, a future, and maybe a legend. A legend that started when one human man saved a little girl, and her mother asked him to stay forever.